In perception, today we'll discuss about perceptual organization. Organization of the stimuli. While perceptual selectivity deals with the factors affecting the stimuli for further processing, perceptual organization deals with the manner in which the selected stimuli are organized in order to make sense out of them. Of the various factors of perceptual organization, the major forms in which the people organize the stimuli are the principles of figure ground, grouping, proximity, similarity, simplification, and closure. First one is figure ground. Figure ground principle is very significant in organizing the stimuli for perception. It is based on the Gestalt psychology, which states that we are born with some basic organizing tendencies, that is, the form of forming capabilities in our senses, particularly with respect to visual recognition of figures as a whole instead of collection of lines and curves. Figure ground organization, it's a type of perceptual grouping that is a vital necessary for recognizing the objects through vision. Though figure ground principle is a logical phenomenon in perception, it presents the following problems. One is sometimes there is competition between figure and ground. With the result, it becomes quite difficult to identify the figure and ground. See, here in this picture, though normally we read the black letters in white background, and based on that, we read this as a flower wash. But basically, the background, when it is changed, we read that there are two phases. This is the problem with regard to the figure ground. The next problem is there is a possibility of reversing the figure and the ground, as we have seen. The next is grouping. Grouping principle of perceptual organization states that there is a tendency of group several stimuli in order to get recognizable patterns. There are certain underlying uniformities in grouping. People generally group various stimuli on the basis of proximity and similarity. See, we have certain dots. We consider all the dots in A as 1, and as we have provided some gaps, we probably see that the first two rows, two columns are similar, and next two is similar, and next two is similar. This is how we group the things. Grouping is based, as I said, it is based on proximity and similarity. Proximity or nearness principle of grouping states that groups of stimuli that are close together will be perceived as a whole of part or the pattern of parts belonging together. For example, we say that the employees working in a particular department may be grouped together because the physical proximity and are perceived as such. Yes. If the output of the department is unsatisfactory, all the persons may be perceived as inefficient, though some of them may be efficient too. Okay. Next principle is similarity. The principle of similarity states that the greater the similarity of the stimuli, greater is the tendency to perceive them as a common group. While proximity principles is based on the nearness, similarity principle is based on similar features of various stimuli, irrespective of nearness. For example, all the workers may be perceived to have same opinion about the management because they are grouped together on the basis of similarity. Next is simplification. Whenever the peoples are overloaded with informations, they try to simplify it to make it more meaningful and understandable. In the process of simplification, the perceiver subtracts the less salient informations and concentrates on the more important one. Simplification makes the things more understandable because the perceiver has been able to reduce the complexity by eliminating some of the things which are less important. The last principle is the closure principle. When faced with incomplete informations, people fill the gaps themselves to make the information meaningful. This may be done on the basis of past experience, past data, or hunches. For example, in many advertisements, alphabets are written by putting electric bulbs indicating the shape of the concerned alphabet, but broken lines. In such cases, they tend to fill up the gaps among different bulbs to get the meaning out of this. In organizational context, managers may not have all relevant information about a matter on which they have to take the decisions. In such cases, they take certain assumptions about the informations and decide accordingly. So the below picture will show the closure principle, that we read it as a two triangle and the circles around it. This is how we organize the informations.